encouraging a person with memories of past divine experiences. The other side finds constant facts that debunk what the emotional side is suggesting. It often shows that paranormal experience should not be the only gauge of determining if something is true or false, especially positive or negative. Sadly, the emotional side tends to win because a person has also gained friends in the religion, a home or fellowship place, and all these novelties weigh heavier on making the correct decision to disavow. As a pastor, it was hard for me to walk away from Christianity. However, since I was also infused with the spirit of truth, it was even more difficult to keep denying the obvious, which was its demoniac esoteric doctrine. Once engulfing the spiritual terrain, there is indeed a common story, it is only the names that change. We will examine this story once and for all because it is the backbone of all belief systems, which we will call MEs, pronounced maze. Belief systems and words are MEs. In the Sumerian text it talks about something described as only MEs. If one gains possession of the knowledge of these MEs, they can control large parts of this dimension. All authors on Sumerian religion never present a definition of what these MEs are, just that they are very powerful. It is noted that the ME is not a weapon. They describe various weapons that belong to the gods in the Sumerian text, but they are sure to keep the MEs separate. The only hint they give of them is that they are written on tablets. The resin of information that remains coated on our aura of what happened in past existences will always serve as mental triggers for our minds. This is how stories of our past is linked to religion in order to bring about devoutness, fear, resonance, and loyalty under false pretenses. A cruel mental scheme designed around ethereal-based historical facts. 50 PAGE. Reason 36th Sumeria inscribed their relict the Ans Edition on sto tablets have su one that survived since a antiquity. All the stories of the Torah were first Sumerian minus the name Kals Ra-Stn Hianges. The MMEs we known to be inscribed on such tablets due as Moses was propo to raise tablets to ibdhus esost aves inscribed by T God YH the HVHT Tragagramatan Shem, Noen. Noah's son, finds a secret stone with also Nieng engraving from before flood and conceals I from his brothers Lot to use it magical from he and it otter its formulas. Dee odds were passed by AD doctrine that could be I learned that some MEs were certain of power encompassing operated around those words. One who controlled the names could control whole nations. First we will examine the doctrine. There are things that have happened on our P.12 planet that even reincarnations cannot completely erase the memes moriav, and that is the flood. The flood is MDEE mentioned in Evansian text, although very NTO it was not said to be related to man's sin but rather natural to phenomena. Punishment for man's sins story did no come up until Sumerian and out Hebrew text mainly operated o fear and reverence of a terrible god wrath than on the bleher unconditional love. This is obviously the project of guilt. Main re-sct the reason for being leaders of his these groups we always warring wits around wth ding count so love w not a good angle them. Rise was for, eitism was more ideal. Curry the eng of the last flood left rested in our has due war, vengeance and favory aura, thus all stories that begin with FB floods are entertained by the subc conscious b because it knows for a was blair. Epple have a phobia of deep fact the flood w true, the details are of course not available many pay weight because the last FLR of Lud. The arc is the odd part of subliminin train hinalment of doctrines. The word itzel resonates elf to escape so much thing that is fearful and impendi such as dark. I was know that you could ending the at WN, 51 PAGE. Traversed the netherworld on a bark which meant a special boat. There were few who made it onto the ark, and those that did were given a mark to show they had been saved. After the dark came the sun, which we unconsciously assume will rise every morning. The sun awakes the whole world and gets the next day started. The sun and sun were made synonymous in English because of this. the Babylonian name being Sam, son of Sam, or is it Samson? The sun god religions embed themselves in the natural occurrences of nature. There is always a mother, sometimes two. Since we are in a binary system, this always leads to one good mother and one evil or surrogate mother, Eve and Lilith. The mother archetype will always survive because the planet can never be seen as anything different than a nourishing mother. Thus, when a name for the Mother Earth was given, all would revere it as they do their physical mother. The name was spoken as Gaia, then Maya, Maya, then 1,000 more. Often the origin of the name was never examined. The people remained always too trusting of their rulers. The dying and resurrecting sun theme was all in a day's work. The sun died at night and resurrected in the morning. This always left the door open for a host of nighttime nightmare creatures that played the role as adversary to the sun. Thus the devil became night-nights, or set as in sunset, still as sun god nonetheless, with a host of worshippers that gravitate towards darkness. Once this began, the idea of a city with eternal light was hatched, a place that was never dark, and of course there were requirements of how to get there. Those requirements were made known by the numerous prophets, shamans, seers, holy men, gurus, yogis and various others playing the role of predictors of time. They later became just as revered and reversed as the god itself. Notice how in Christianity Jesus is now worshipped more than YHVH. Many in church don't even know who that is, nor do they care. Jesus has it all covered. In Buddhism there is more discussions about Buddha than the divine concept of the focal point which Buddha presented. This is no wonder, since they say his mother's name was Maya Maya, all around the world the same song. Various sects of Islam suffer from the same problem, revering caliphs, imams, and Muhammad more than Allah at times. The rabbis get more airtime than Ein Sof, especially since they are convinced he is incomprehensible and cannot be conceived by impure flesh. Last but far from least comes the chaos and destruction. Since mankind is not immortal in this physical state, many assume a time will come for everything to die. Thus we falsely decree the Earth's time will come also. It should be obvious by now the Earth is immortal and passes through various phases. We watch it happen every day as animals die, bugs die, we age, the house or neighborhood gets run down. Decay is inevitable. However, the glass-half-empty approach of modern religion, in which the whole world and most of its inhabitants must be utterly destroyed by plagues and horrors falling from the sky, distorts an act that should otherwise be looked at as the entrance to a greater phase. The truth is the heaven and hell these distorted belief systems propose are one in the same. With their spiritual technologies they have mastered how to keep the soul in stasis. True spirituality is the growth of the soul. This allows it to become quite the opponent to forces that would attempt to capture it once it escapes the body. Any shaman can tell you this. When he/she enters the spirit world there are various, 52 PAGE, things its inhabitants consider before they interact with the shaman. Many shaman have various types of protection, but their main asset is the strength of their totem. The human soul is a force to be reckoned with when it is fully in tune. This leads to other beings just leaving you alone so you can live. Reason 37. Religion has constructed an entire ideology of afterlife that plagues the believer's mind with absurdities, giving birth to distorted forms and the imbalance of fear. When consecrated belief is put into such things, they are given the energy to materialize, and believe me, they have already. Places like Purgatory, the Fields of Elysium, Hades, Abaddon, the Netherworld, and many others really exist. Remember, there are now billions of people who believe in these places and most end up in them. The doctrines of today are combined in more or less a religious buffet based on collected information gathered over time. Some systems more creative and poetic than others. Although the story itself only served to captivate and implore the neophyte, it was the names which are vibrations that created the staying power. All throughout this work we will be examining various names of 53 PAGE. Power. The commoner is enticed to a place of worship for one reason or another. The high priest, however, must understand how it all works, especially the spiritual realm. Chanting is a major part of priestly duties beyond ritualistic observances. What chanting does is bring the body into the frequency of whatever name is being chanted. Once the frequency